So one of the biggest challenges that you face as a researcher, professor, PhD student is the loneliness that you actually feel. And I know that this is not true for all disciplines. In the sciences, it's less lonely, but in the social sciences, it's incredibly lonely. And you work alone by yourself. And the reason you work alone often is because that the work requires a great deal of cognitive effort, that you're thinking and processing information. Even when you work with groups, for example, you might be collaborating with many different people. It's usually through emails. It's usually through, just text communication. And it's a very lonely, difficult process. Or, the more challenging thing is this. I think it's almost an industrial hazard of the career of managing the feelings of being alone and isolated. I spend days, weeks, months being alone in looking at a computer screen. And it's kind of a running joke at this point, because my wife has a career that definitely is a lot more interactive. And when we go home, I'm desperate to talk to her, and she's desperate not to talk because her career is so interactive. And I think this is the challenge that we face, is how do you actually manage this and process this? And frankly, I don't know. I think there's many days that I just don't like it, and I feel very alone. Many, many days. That's a feeling that I even feel right now. Even though that I spend a great deal of time working and putting in the effort, I do feel alone. I want you to know, in terms of processing this or thinking about it, is that this feeling does not go away in the career. And you have to learn how to deal with it in terms of being okay with being by yourself. And I know that that is not something that you want to hear. But that's really the truth of it. I remember somebody telling me, and I remember early on in my career, I was thinking, it's just so lonely. And they said it would get better as you've been going through the process. I am 15 years in at this moment. I started in 2005, 17 years in, and it has not changed. The career is incredibly lonely. And what I want you to know is, there's many people out there that are having the same experiences that you do. And I want you to also know is that you have to take this as a responsibility. You have to identify that it is an industrial hazard, where you need to, or an industrial risk, where you need to actually take care of yourself by looking for ways that you have other things going on in your outside life. You're not going to, it's difficult to actually do that at work because you need the quiet, you need the isolation. And so you need to find ways that you don't feel that lonely. Maybe you get a pet. We have 2 dogs. It feels great to have those puppies around. You need to try to make friends in other areas. I find that difficult because of the career itself often prevents that from happening. You need to look for ways that you're just okay and manage that as an industrial hazard. Know that that is a risk in your career where you actually spend time managing it and thinking about it and dealing with it. So looking to see how you would deal with an industrial hazard. You manage it. You don't look at it and say, like, this is not an important thing in the particular career. You think about, okay, I know that this risk is going to happen to me. How do I manage it? How do I deal with it? And, frankly, many of us don't deal with it that well, including myself, right? It's hard. This is one of the hardest parts of the entire career. But you deal with it by doing things outside, like getting exercise. Maybe you start, if you are really lonely, leave comments below. See if you can make some friends with some people on this channel. You do things that help you in every way you possibly can. And why you do that is so that you're managing that risk. You're managing that this is a problem that we all face and we need to deal with it. And lastly, I want to point out that this is a systematic issue that, frankly, I think we need to address in a broader way. I don't know how to do that. I don't know what the right answer is with it, because it's such a challenge to balance that you got to work on you have to work on your own with the actual socializing part of it. And I don't know what the right answer is with that. I thought about this in many different ways. If you spend too much time socializing, then you're going to look unproductive and all of that nonsense. But I think we need to change the structure of the career. And I think if we change the structure of the career somehow, where it's the norm that you actually work together, in the sense that you actually show up and you're working together in a room, I think that might change things a little bit. But that is very hard to do, and it's very hard to find that. So I just want you to know you're not alone. A lot of people feel alone. It's part of the hazard of the career. And you got to learn how to manage it, to deal with the dangers of the loneliness that you experience as a researcher. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.